with situations where they felt bullied or manipulated, sometimes in drama school, sometimes in the industry. Obviously, what I try and do is direct them to people that can help, equity being an example. But people do come and they say, this thing has happened to me, and I'm just telling you because I want to tell somebody, but I don't feel ready yet to talk about it. I think one of the powerful things about the Time's Up movement is that as more people talk about it, it can empower somebody else, either to talk about it or maybe just to get some help. And I think a lot of the time it's somebody hears about somebody else's experience and they have two realizations. The first one is that, well, that doesn't sound right, because I think sometimes in any industry, but particularly in our industry, we can be so dependent on other people to give us work that we can put up with things and almost accept as the norm that we're putting up with things, which if somebody else was going through them, we'd be the first to say, no, that's not right.
Power dynamic.
Yeah, so I think people hearing other people's stories can sometimes just help them realize that something that they've been putting up with or an experience they've had hasn't been right, and then, as I say, as more people speak out about things, and particularly the collective speaking out about things, that can be really helpful then in terms of encouraging somebody else to get help or speak out. But I think while I absolutely support all the people who speak out individually, I think this is the whole kind of situation of bullying in the industry, harassment in the industry, unfairness in the industry. It's only ever going to be solved by a collective move.
Yeah.
And I think that when I say that, I'm very conscious that it can sound like collectively people who've experienced it, people who've been victims, have to get together, but they shouldn't have to, because those of us who have any kind of power in the industry are the ones who are in the best position to change it.
Yeah.
And I think so. I think it is happening. It's not happening nearly as fast as it should be happening. And I do think that those of us in any kind of position of power or influence need to be constantly considering what can we do to help those changes happen faster.
Totally. Because I think when it was first launched, it was in every newspaper, everybody was talking about it, and it was off the back of obviously what happened over in the States. Yes. They opened up a fund, people were putting millions of pounds in, and then couple of months later, and you don't hear about it. And we're it's coming to the end of the year, and I wondered quite a lot in the last few months. I wonder what's happening. How's that money being spent? And I know that Equity are doing a lot, and they've set up helplines. But yeah, I really hope it doesn't go quiet.
Yeah, and I think I think the issue has been raised by all that publicity, and I think what we have to all be careful of is not kind of riding the wave of the publicity of it, and saying all the right things and not actually doing anything, and then another issue will come up. And the focus will move to that, and actually, a lot of the issues are linked. For instance, you mentioned Equity, who do have a helpline, and people who are experiencing harassment or discrimination can contact Equity. Equally, Equity, quite rightly, are very vocal on the whole area of low pay and no pay. In a sense, those two things are linked, because a lot of it is if I, as an actor, feel that my work is in the gift of somebody else, that gives that person a lot of power over me. And it can sometimes tempt me to make decisions where I do things for nothing because I feel there's no other alternative. And then equally, if that person who I want to work for, who I'm told is very important, behaves in a way that's inappropriate, I can be fearful that if I say no, then what will happen to my career? Yeah. If I speak out, what will happen to my career? So I think a lot of those things are definitely linked, and quite often linked back to the fact that I think actors as people who are business people who are empowered to make their own choices is maybe a perception that, again, I think more actors and more of the industry are delivering that message now. But for a long time, I think it's been the opposite. It's felt very much like As an actor, I'm totally at the mercy of the phone ringing and somebody else giving me permission to do whatever it is that I want to do.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you just saw, and if you want to see the full-length version of these conversations, hop across to our website at actors-anonymous.com.